The Blast Push to Talk podcast is back, episode 2.
Was popular Blast, another day, another podcast, another month, another podcast. We do one a month. They're super special for that reason. I'm sitting here with Scrawny, but I'm on the right side of the ocean. What's going on with you, Scrawny?
Oh man, I'm lingering. Still back in North America. You're fresh off the plane. I'm waiting with anticipation to come join you, but still locking it down here in Montreal, Mo. This podcast is sponsored by EPOS, the power of audio. Time to take your game to the next level. The EPOS H3 closed acoustic gaming headset is multi-platform compatible and delivers crisp, clear audio, spine-shivering bass, and a truly immersive gaming experience. Learn more at eposaudio.com/gaming or stay right here for more audio news.
CSGO news. There's stuff happening.
Yeah, that's what news is, yeah.
Like, for example, Ancient is coming in for the spring finals for Blast.
Woo.
It won't be the first event because I think it's going to be at IEM Summer.
Correct.
But Ancient coming in for the spring finals, that's just, first of all, I'm stoked to watch this just at both events, right? Because the map is going to change so much, even day to day. The amount of stuff that's being hidden right now from other teams that they're going to bring in for gimmicks and stuff, it's probably going to be like I won't even begin to guess how many things are going to be like gimmick spots that people play or like tactics or like this, what becomes the common smoke, who steals what. I'm going to be watching for all of it, bro. I'm going to be salivating. The best part about Ancient coming in is that it has made other maps more fun because like when I'm stream like 10 mans, I'll play like 3 games of Ancient to start it out. And then after that, I'll be like done with Ancient, and then I'll look forward to playing the other maps in the pool. It's just made everything more refreshing. It's made the other maps more fresh in some weird way.
No, I feel you, dude. I think here's the thing. Unarguably, we all love Counter-Strike to absolute death. The base of Counter-Strike's experience, the gunplay, just everything that makes CS, we love it. But it's the environment of which you get to play the game, and having a new environment of which you probably never played unless you were a scrimmage god. It shakes it all up. It reminds me that fresh maps are actually one of the best experiences that Counter-Strike can offer us nowadays, in my opinion. I don't want you to change instrumental parts of the game. Little tweaks, little balances, cool, man. But for the most part, don't make big changes other than the maps that we're playing on. It took what, over 2 years? 2 years to get a competitive map pool change. And alongside it, right? Like, just side note, think of the new Wingman maps that came in with this change, the new scrimmage maps that came in with this game. Dude, Grind, Mocha, they're sick. It's just being able to play CS in a new environment. Oh, it makes you feel alive. And now we get to see the pros do it. Because for all of the pugs that you've been playing on Ancient, I've played a couple. Face it, Ancient games, 100% win rate, just saying. I'm right there with you, man. And I think this map, as off of your point with like gimmicks, this is such a map for that. There are so many dark little cubbies, corners that like you think could be potential positions in real rounds, but I want to see what pros pull out big time. I want to see, I think most importantly than anything else, I want to see players of this caliber forced into a situation where they're going to have to start getting better and starting to get competitive on it so that we can really flush out what needs to be changed. I mean, there are some very glaring, obvious issues with Ancient that I could point out need to be changed right here, right now, without that competitive, understanding of the game.
Okay, let me try to guess yours.
Hit me.
A few too many cubbies?
Agreed, absolutely.
CTs can get too much map control too easily?
Yes, sure, yep.
Okay, like really really OP grenades and like whatever, all of mid and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 that I was thinking. Is there another one?
So I am on a mission. I have found my purpose. And my porpoise is to get rid of the water in the damn T-spawn.
Oh yeah. The buggy water in the T-spawn.
Dude. I mean, listen, the water bug has been around for, it's been accepted. It almost feels like it's just been generally accepted. The only map it really affects is obviously Overpass, right? And in Overpass, okay, sometimes the bug occurs when you're pushing through short And it could give off info in terms of like, flanks or early rotates. Like,
no, yeah, it's a thing.
And it's a thing, but we just kind of like generally accepted it because it's only been present on one of the competitive maps. And I think anytime the sound bug happens underneath of Heaven, it's a little bit more negligible than say Short B. So it's just something that we've like generally accepted about the game. But on Ancient, I think it becomes an even larger issue because it blocks off the possibility of an entire flank route. It is such a massive body of water on Ancient, and it serves zero purpose. Now you could say that the water on Overpass is for drop, but you can't go here, man. It blocks off an entire part of the map. It's crazy, and it needs to be taken out.
Yeah, or they just need to fix the sound bug.
Launders' train is gone. It is on its deathbed. It is on its deathbed. It's taken its last. There it is. That
when
right
when the hostage is over your shoulder.
This is the official sacrifice of Train. It's gone. And I have to ask, is it the right map to be removed?
Yes.
Or should something else have gone instead?
Yes.
Yes, it is the right map to be removed.
I would have removed Dust 2.
All right.
But only if I was the only player. You know what I mean? Like, if I was Valve, I would have removed Train.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Because at every single level, it was the least played map. And everybody will wring their hands and claim that Train was their favorite map of all time. And they never batted it, face it.
It's gone.
It's gone. And you never played it. And you always cried about it. And you never picked it. And there might be a few percentage of players that did, but even at the pro level and the pug level, it's not a fun map to pug for sure. But then the other argument is like, well, what about pro player? But pro player, it was even the lowest pick rate at tournaments. So, that's just how it goes. It's gone. And you know what else is gone? Colzera from Faze, baby.
Oh my God, dude. We were sat down preparing to do this here podcast, and that was the breaking news. The world came to a total halt, communal gasp of breath, and Olof was back again.
Well, does it say that?
Well, it was a weird article. It said that rumors are he'll be there for IAM Summer, but rumors are that they're not even playing at IAM Summer. So, maybe that's a little typo. Maybe they meant for Blast Spring Finals, because of course we do have Faze in attendance. It wouldn't be a Faze roster change if Olof didn't make a reappearance.
It's actually tradition
for
this organization to bring Olof back in as soon as someone leaves. How is this guy always warm?
I don't know, man. How many retirements are we gonna have? You know how many Olof retirements I have commentated? I would say at least 3.
Bro, and I don't want him to hang the gloves up ever. So
Nope.
because even his last retirement return was actually the best, maybe of all of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, that retirement return that was I'm gonna argue like that was the performance that is the reason Faze is even here at the Spring Showdown.
Okay, yeah, yep. That's actually insane.
Spring Finals. Finals. Yeah, they got through the groups, and they made it through the groups, finishing, in the 4th to 6th slot in their group over top of Liquid. They 2-0'd Liquid in the lower bracket final, and that was the game where it went 22-20 on Nuke, and then they smoked them on Inferno.
Damn.
And so it's kind of funny that we're getting a different version of Faze here at the finals, but it's a different version with almost the same ingredients. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Twist seemed to reinvigorate this roster, and we thought, okay, Olof's final performance, this is crazy. Once Karrigan comes in and Twist has time to settle, Faze is taking it to the top 5 2021, no doubt. That's what it kind of felt like. Mm-hmm. They're not even ranked in the top 20 right now.
Yep. Lowest all-time rank, 24, I think. Crazy.
But the explosion hasn't happened yet. I mean, maybe Colzera's, it's like, is this the chain reaction? It's like, oh, okay, Faze still haven't cemented themselves. There was this conversation around Faze where it was like this little rotating door for a little while. It's every time they make a change. What is it? Trust the process. Every time they make a change, it's like, oh, this is the one, guys. Yeah. Oh, this is the one. Guys.
Wait.
We didn't have an IGL, guys. We got one of those now, guys. What's the issue, man?
This is actually perfect because we at the Blast Showdown had Karrigan come in for an IRL interview, and he talked about trusting the process. So why don't we listen to that?
Within a lineup, I work with something called 1 to 3 months, where I get to know the players. I get to put them out of the comfort zone. I get to see what they strive and what the issues are. Can I fix those within 3 months, or do I have to move around the pieces in the team? 3 to 6 months is where, okay, we need to get in the comfort zone. I tested everything I could in the lineup. Let's put those pieces together, how we're going to move, improve the map pool. By 6 months, we should be able to play 7 maps, or at least try it. If we cannot do it, we pick out the map that we're worst on. And 6 to 12 is where we need to peak as a team. And after 12 months, that's where the decision comes. Is this working? Is it not working? Is there something you can fine-tune in the team? Or is there something we did wrong along the lines, right? So to answer that question, obviously, Major is a little early in that. That's the 6-month period. It's hard to tell, but obviously I want to win that Major. But I'll also put to my head, as a player, you might not ever win the Champions League in football.
Sure, yeah.
But you can be one of the greatest players, right?
Of course, yeah.
So for me, my goal is something I can never achieve before I'm done. I want to be one of the greatest in-game leaders, took different teams to the top. And that means maybe I'm not doing it at Faze, but maybe I'll do it another time. Who knows when I'm done, right? So when I wake up every morning, I know that the goal is so far away that I cannot reach it. And also, let's say, my final goal is to win a Major. If I win that Major, how do I now wake up in the morning?
Exactly.
So I have put a goal in front of me that's saying, okay, when I'm done, I'm done. And I've done everything I could every day for like the past 20 years. And that's important for me, knowing that if I win that Major, now it's not time to relax. Now it's just to keep building on that legacy.
Okay, so that was Karrigan very clearly outlining how long it would take for, in his mind, for Faze to get good and where the expectations should be, saying between 6 and 12 months the team should get good. So if we look at the team, it's been 2 months since the interview, and they had 1 full month of practice. Okay, which was also a thing where Karrigan before that Blast Overtime interview said to me, we almost have had too much time off, where no officials, they're developing the map pool, but they're shadow boxing. They're not actually playing against opponents, so they're getting a inflated sense of self-worth in practice, and not actually showing that they can win under pressure and stuff. And then they start playing. They play about 5 tournaments, I think. Even though it's only been 2 months, they played a lot. And the results are obviously horrible. Ranked 25. There are some close maps. There was Twist looking very good. The whole team was overall really inconsistent. Karrigan's individual performance was a problem. He did talk about there in the interview. He actually did. He did talk about moving pieces around. And I guess the one thing that makes the most sense with the roster change is that if you're going to bring Olof in for anyone, it doesn't make sense to bring him in for Colzera just role-wise. That probably just fits the nicest right away. I don't think it puts too much pressure on the T sides for Olof to do what Rain was doing, but
sure.
I still think that Rain is not even good enough in his role to bring consistency to the results.
Talking about guys who jump in and out though, Launders, we've got somebody else, right? If we're looking at roster changes from the start of the spring season, back before spring groups, the qualification process, which led us to this upcoming Blast event of the Blast Spring Finals. Kenny S is out of G2 and Jax. His amigo is back in. It's, I think, the time. It's the time for Kenny S to take a step away. Kenny S was having some pretty abysmal individual performances ever since Jax left, actually, the first time around. I don't think Kenny S was the same, sadly. And then when Kenny was kicked and Jax came back in, I had this heartbreaking reaction where it was like, no, I want them both in at the same time. That's what I thought was best for both of them individually. But it turns out Jax is just hungry for chances, and Jax is going to do what he has to. One of such a sick, dedicated entry. And I think he's somebody who has been touted by the other G2 players as being the spirit of the team. He keeps you need that energy in a roster, and Jax absolutely brings it, man. He's a great showman, wears his heart on his sleeve. And the only weird thing about this roster was the opping role. And, it was announced Nico takes it. Within a week, it's in the hands of Amanek. I liked that Amanek kind of took it over. I think Amanek is somebody who is very versatile, one of the most versatile players out there. And it freed up Nico to just do what he's supposed to with a rifle. Jax back in G2 is I would say one of the underrated roster moves. I didn't know how long it was going to be. I thought maybe it was I thought he was like the Olof of G2. He was going to come in, take a seat for a little while, and then dip out when things, didn't improve as much as they had to. But he does not seem like a placeholder. He seems like a legitimate solution to making that op fluidly pass hands and also opening up Nico. who looks great too, man. So I'm all for G2. But what about Bit? Bit full on in. NAVI no longer including Flamey on the roster. He has had to take his back seat. I played a wingman against him with Hugo the other day. That's what Flamey's up to, playing casters, while Bit has reinvigorated NAVI. Or has he?
They kind of like, I think, reached a peak point with their performance. With him on the team, he's really helped out on specific maps, and now coming in on all maps. At first, he was the guy who had the moleskin notebook on the webcam with way too many things to read and couldn't focus on his crosshair at all. Was just like, wait, Simple didn't say he was going to rotate it this time. I gotta go and like help out this other position. And like there were moments on Inferno where it was such an important map for them in each series where Bit would just like do nothing. And then all of a sudden he just started owning on Inferno, and he just, I think, reached this threshold of knowledge where he could actually just focus on his screen and his aim improved, and he didn't look nervous, and he looked really good. And it's becoming very clear that Bit came on to be a permanent long-term improvement over Flamey. And it seems like they're realizing that truth. I think he is working out very well. And what can you say? They're winning. So, yeah. But even though Bit coming on a Flamey is a big roster move, there's an even bigger one. Device moving to NIP.
Yeah. One of the biggest roster moves of all time. Maybe. The fact that it was kept under wraps.
I think it's top one.
Okay. It's definitely, it's up there. It was the most shocking roster move that went unteased since Moses left casting for Liquid, I would say. And Device moving to NIP, I mean, dude, there's so much. It's such a massive topic. We touched on it when it actually happened, right prior to our first Blast podcast. But now here we are, with the ability to look back and reflect at what's going on. Mouse Sports, I think they had a challenger most recently in the form of NIP, because this device inclusion looks really good. I mean, unarguably at this point with the results of Flashpoint, like NIP have looked better than Astralis. And so the question was not, can Device do it without his structure? It's, can Astralis survive without Device now? NIP, immediate upgrade. I mean, huge move just based on a lot of like lifestyle decisions, right? That was one of the big one. He wanted to be settled in and happy within Sweden. There was a lot of weird little kind of snippets of interviews and announcements that came out with Device's inclusion on NIP, talking about, the quality of practice and whatnot. There was so many what felt like little tiny jabs, but I feel like a lot of that was just kind of bigged up for the sake of the narrative and the sake of the excitement of such a crazy roster move. Device on Ninjas in Pajamas, I think, inspires some more of these pieces around him. I think that all these guys are looking at their new teammate as a source of knowledge, as a source of experience, and as a source of inspiration. I think the Ninjas and Mouse Sports, okay, we're going to get into the official hot takes later, man, but Ninjas and Mouse Sports are coming for crowns, in my opinion.
Next up, we got EG to replace Tarek and Ethan. I can't watch this team play. I feel horrible, but I just feel like I am not watching a team that is eventually going to win the major.
Yeah.
And when they had Tarek and Ethan, no matter how bad the results were, I felt like they could. I mean, Ethan was one thing. That was their hand force. They might not have wanted to cut Ethan. I don't think anyone thought on the team or outside the team that Ethan was a problem. He's fantastic and a huge reason I believe in the roster. Tarek's individual level is not amazing, but he was doing a job for the team that was very specific. It might be another time that Mihu, who has been a very talented player in the tier 2, who is supposed to be on the best version of Virtus Pro and supposed to be, successful as the next kind of best Polish talent, might be not used properly, might not be on the right roster, after Envy and now into EG. His stats were good before EG. They're bad now. So I don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't think anything about the system. I'm not sure I believe in Stanislaus' system anymore. I really, really did. And I think there might have been too many close losses that came after them, because, they were the team who had the best map pool in NA, better than Liquid's. They were the one who beat Astralis consistently. Liquid literally never beat Astralis, once or twice. They even virtually avoided them throughout the entire Grand Slam run, and that was a weaker Astralis as well. So they always had problems in that regard where EG didn't, but then EG couldn't sometimes beat the other teams to get to Astralis, or would have such close losses they would lose, and they would even look better than the other team in some games. That's what I felt. I really don't even have an interest in watching their matches. I don't know how else to put it. It's not very. It doesn't feel like anything's going to happen. And there's no. I mean, we don't have the loyalty to any org or any roster, any players or anything like that. If they were going to play well, then they will, and we can start paying attention to them again. But until that point, I mean, I don't want to make myself angry watching EG matches.
I think, unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, Breeze lost a bit of his punch when Ethan departed. I think the Breeze Ethan duo kind of left him a little wounded, man. And as it's a bit of a shame because we kind of go down this list of roster changes with like positive notes on each step. Yeah, Bit looks great. Oh, Ninja Zip, e.g. It's not on me to hype them up. It's on them to impress us out of nowhere. That's the story of Evil Geniuses coming to the spring finals, I think.
Another middling roster. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Big are better than EG.
Yes.
In every sense of the word right now. I mean, Big are a team's team as well. Like, I ask other players about Big. They always have, like, good things to say about, like, how much preparation they come with, how much innovation. They're scared of them. They're always a threat at these big events. They had a really insane 2020, and they keep dipping and coming back up.
That's what they do.
They're not super insane.
Yeah.
Right? They just do not have enough top 20 players to be as good as they should be, because Big are a team that touched top 1, like G2, and it was like a flash. But G2 legitimately have enough talent to stay there. But Big don't have a single player as good as Hunter, as good as Nico. And I think that that's a huge problem for Big, that ultimately they've got Tabson, who's supposed to be one of the biggest talents out of Germany, probably the best individual rifler, but he's IGLing and doing a fantastic job. But his stats aren't insane. He has huge swings in his performance over his career. Xantares is actually really, really strong, super good. Even if you want to argue Xantares' aim is better than Nico, is it? Can you prove it? Did the stats show it? No, it doesn't matter. He's not a better player than Nico. That's what matters the most. So yeah, Xantares, he's clearly looks like an aim god and does have very good stats, but he is not a hyper carry like he's supposed to be.
Yep.
So who do they have? They've got Searson, who was a top 9 player last year and had a really poor 2021, to be honest. And it's getting better, and I totally believe Searson is the next elite Alper outside of the Zywoo simple device, but I don't know, that he's not consistent right now either. So I think the fact that Big are winning is because they can be greater than the sum of their parts. And that's an excellent thing and fun thing to root for. That's awesome. But in terms of individual talent, I just don't think they have enough to get to where they need to be, which is top 3 consistent. I think they need to be shooting for top 3. They just have bigger goals. They're not a disappointment by any means, but they now have shown that they should have bigger goals.
Yes. And especially because we take this into consideration, unlike Evil Geniuses, who are kind of coming in, low expectations, new roster, Big is one of now the longest standing rosters in Counter-Strike.
Which is cool.
They have not made any changes across all of these varying levels of success. We talk about how they touched number 1. Yes, they did as an organization and as a 5. This was the Big that could accomplish wins. So we know it's there. At least, that's my asterisk. We know it's there. And it depends on the event. It depends on the form. It depends on their competition. Big is a landmine, okay? Evil Geniuses are a wet fart. Big is a landmine. If you're not careful, you can very well just get blown out of an event before you even realize what's happening because of the potential. I'm never going to predict them, but I'm already prepared to lose predictions to them.
I love that. That's so good.
That's big.
That's facts. Yeah, I'll probably, because of that, I'm going to pick them because I know that they have to win something, and I was not going to pick them for anything. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, predictions will be fun this event.
That's the perfect segue, because the last point here, man, the last point on the Blast breakdown is literally prediction of who will win the final or who will be in the final of the spring finals. Let's pick
NAVI
2 teams.
as per, baby. NAVI as per. They beat Gambit in the last 2 series. They are going to play well versus better teams. I'm not scared. I'm scared of any of these teams. I'm scared of all my favorite big orgs when they go up against a random team online because of the amount of preparation difference and all this other stuff, whatever. But I'm very confident with Blade, with Bit, and Simple being consistent and everything. that they're going to be a super strong force of this event. They won the global final, which is actually not that long ago, even though it's a lot of events ago because of how busy our schedule is. But so my prediction for the final is Gambit, Navi, with Navi winning.
Sure, I think that's a fair grand final. I would love to see Gambit get another chance. I'm right there with you. I do believe Navi is the bet to win the event. If I had to go for dark horse, or if I had to go for a top 4, I'm throwing Ninjas and G2 in that conversation. The Ninjas less of a proven entity just because of this roster change still being fresh, but there's promise, man. There's real promise, and I think G2 are right there with them neck and neck. So if it's not Gambit or Navi in the finals, it's got to be one of those 2 other teams. Those are the 4 guys that I'm looking at in terms of semifinals. Yeah.
On Gambit, they have a strong IGL. His name's Nafany, and he is really good when it comes to preparing maps for the pool, when it came to having Gambit rise so quickly and for so long at this point. And we had an interview where we talked to him and picked his brain on some stuff. And the prevalent storyline with Nafany is, will his form in CS and his team's form keep up when we go back to LAN? So why don't we go listen to Nafany talk about his thoughts on going back to LAN and whether or not Gambit will stand the test of time.
You guys, I think a big question, of course, with you guys, like around you guys, is the conversation is when you get back to LAN, where are Gambit going to place?
When every team will go back to LAN, nothing will change because like everyone is really confident right now, and if you catch this feeling, probably you will bring it to LAN. So and as you can see, after online era only starts, when online era only starts, ranking was the same, like literally same ranking, same teams. Astralis was like top team for like first 3 months or something like that. It was like all the same. But after this time, it's like was more easier to grind young teams because all teams was like, okay, we're a bit tired right now because online. So they didn't have as much motivation as we are. So that's main reason why all teams like playing bad now, in my opinion. So when LAN brings bad, if all players will have same motivation as before, maybe they will go to LANs and playing good again, but who knows?
If we think, 3 months to 6 months from now, if we're looking at the end of the online era and the return to LAN, I want who do you think will be the top 3 teams, HLTV top 3, at the end of this online era? Who do you see there?
Astralis for sure. I guess it can be VR, but I'm not sure because like I can't say about that.
Sure, it's a hard one to pick, but if you had to give a 3 answer, let's say Astralis, Gambit,
and Heroic looks good, but it's like first time for them, so I can't say Heroic. Maybe Liquid, to be honest.
Liquid.
Ooh,
yeah, they are getting way
better. They are getting better, man. They are getting better. Yes.
I'm happy to hear that.
No, they aren't. That was a lie, and he lied. That was interesting. I think no one knows. We're really just staring into the magic 8-ball when waiting for a response. But I think what's facts is that they're a good team. Like people with eyeballs know that Gambit's a strong team.
Yep.
That they just play good CS. The one issue is that the LAN experience, it could just hit you like a ton of bricks. The other teams are going to be super motivated, like you said, to come back. And then it's just the skill ceiling comes down on LAN, but the pressure goes up. The skill ceiling is higher online because you have every little detail when it comes to sound and all the nerdy shit you can do. When you go to LAN, it's that saying, everyone's got a plan until they get hit. Mike Tyson, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They can talk about how they're just going to focus on their monitors, but when 14,000 people in Copenhagen are screaming at them, cheering for Astralis, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they're there. Yeah, they're going to be these small little Gambit players. You know what I'm saying?
These
they're
guys,
they're going to be sweating. They're too skinny,
too scrawny. It's an unspoken rule, man. When you are traveling for LAN events, you don't get to practice. That's the big one with being at home, man. You could spend as much time as you want in and out of the server,
no more 10
practicing
hours a
and
day.
preparing. Exactly, and that's something that Gambit have talked about. They've talked about how hungry they are, how dedicated they are, how hard they work, which is great. I don't doubt it at all. But they are being given a chance right now outside of what used to be the crazy travel schedule where they can absolutely practice as much as they want to. Now, jump continents 4 times in the course of a month and a half, and you're telling me you're going to be practicing as much? Absolutely not. It's time constrained, impossible.
Another thing to tie into LAN as well, and is actually Nafany talking about Heroic as one of his top 3 teams for the end of the year.
Yep.
Heroic touched top 1 with a lineup that is no longer the same 5. They had Borup and they had Nico on the team, but now they brought in Refrezh as well as Shush and are back to that level. And that has been so insane to watch because a lot of people were like, okay, wow, it was amazing that Heroic did what they did, but clearly that wasn't going to last long. And now they've made 2 what looks like lateral roster moves. No way that's going to happen again. Then they come through first tournament, Refrezh and Shush. They win Pro League. And we actually also spoke to Refrezh here in an interview and got his thoughts on what it was like to come off that Pro League win and what their future is going to look like. And now we're a few tournaments later, so it might be interesting to listen to what he has to say.
I think that if we look at Heroic now, and if we look at Danish Counter-Strike, it's hard to argue that there's a player who has more drive and more grind and who has faced more adversity than your current in-game leader in Cadian. So I'm just curious, like on this journey that you had to go through, on this attempt to kind of claw your way back to the top, did you look at Cadian as inspiration? Does Cadian inspire you already since you've joined the team? I feel like just with the little bit of team footage we've seen from you guys, it seems like you guys are gelling well. You pump each other up, especially after that massive clutch to win Pro League. So what are your thoughts on Cadian as an inspiration to Danish players and also as an in-game leader?
I mean, I would like to take us back a little bit from the first time I played with him in 2017. I played with him for a week at Coming Games, and it was really. I was actually so inspired by how much he could learn me, but just by a few days, and the way he looked at CS and the way he could be a leader and learn people CS. I haven't really tried that before with anyone, even since then. So it was really great to get the offer from Heroic to be back with him again, because I always looked up to him as a leader, and I mean he has only impressed me since then, because he also have improved in a lot of ways, both in game and out game. Not saying that there were issues before, but he just, the results and the way he is, it speaks for itself. He's the best leader I've ever played with. He is the guy who's doing the pep talks before the games. He's really good at keep the energy up, and also in practice, he's really good at listening to each player, and kind of make the whole play style fit us all. So it's not like only one player getting all the resources or whatever. We all got a say, and he listens to everybody. So I don't know. He's a great, he's just the best captain I've ever played with, and I'm just happy by playing alongside him.
God, Cadian is so handsome and tall and charming and impactful and versatile
from top to bottom. Seems like we got a bromance on this fresh Heroic roster, and I don't blame him, man. They hang on to that level, that rank number 2. Nafany, his interview just earlier in this podcast was talking about them coming off of their 1 Pro League win, and he thought maybe they'd be top 3 going forward, but he wasn't quite sure. Well, listen, it's cemented itself. This is a very real Heroic. This is a very competitive Heroic. Heroic, unfortunately, not at our event, Launders. They're not at the Blast Spring Finals, but I kind of wish they were.
How are we supposed to know they're going to get good again?
I know. Sad. It is time for the hot takes.
No, not one more echo? Okay, let me just start, okay?
Yep.
This is the best mouse sports lineup that the organization has ever had.
Oh God, that is good. Oh, you started strong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just because it's not proven yet. Now I know you've set that up. You said this is it. It will be in the end. But I gotta shut it down for now. I'm gonna say no. The one with Karrigan, man. No, not even. Okay, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Continuation. Mouse Sports will win a trophy before Astralis does.
Facts.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. I mean, Astralis are actually surprisingly good with Bubsky, but Astralis will never be top 3 again with Bubsky.
Never be top 3?
Not even top 3. But you know what? Here's the thing. I would say it's not because of Bubsky. He's been great. I would just like to say that. I just think the composition, it won't allow them. I don't think Astralis would be top. I'm going to keep this short. I don't think Astralis would be top 3 with Bubsky. Like, not because of Bubsky, this lineup. I don't think the composition will work. I don't think they'll be top 3 with this lineup.
Okay, I accept that one as well.
No, sorry. They won't be top 3
They
with the
won't
lineup.
be. Okay, the dramatic.
They won't be top 3 with the lineup.
I accept it. Man.
Okay.
All great things come to an end, and we watched Astralis prevail through a lot of hard times. They got over a bunch of bumps. They stopped Team Liquid from getting their major win off of the back of the Intel Grand Slam. It seemed like Astralis was the cat with 9 lives, but they're all out of lives, man. At least in terms of top 3s.
Stop stalling. What's your hot take?
My hot take: Colzera goes to Oplano.
Oplano. Oh my.
I'm talking KNG, Colzera, VSM, Lucas.
You're
and
cutting
Henny.
Lucas?
No, I'm cutting
wait.
Leo.
Oh my God. How dare you? Can't cut Leo.
You got to keep the brothers together.
No, you can't.
All right, then what happens?
I want Henny to regret leaving Furia to go to play with his brother and have to watch his brother get cut again from his new lineup.
All right, that's some twisted shit, man.
Yeah. Henny's the best player in all of Brazil. No. Who? Name 5 players.
Honda. That's the
What?
real deal.
Not just name 5 players in general. Name 5 players better than Henny.
Name 5 players from Brazil better than Henny.
Yeah.
We did this last time, and then all I did was answered Honda 4 times. You remember that?
Was that my hot take?
We had a similar situation where you asked me to name 5 players better than something, and I didn't. So I didn't have the answer, but I didn't want to backpedal, so I just listed.
Well, you and me, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to reverse Uno card you. Yeah.
I think VSM's better. Oh, no. All right. Extremum are not.
What the hell? You don't have one player better than Henny, but you're willing to ant me?
I said Honda.
We almost went 3 hot takes in a row without using the buzzer.
Honda, VSM.
Are you actually saying Honda for real, man? Or not?
We haven't seen enough from him, man. We had a really. Do you not remember what he did to G2 in his
he
first
had
showing?
2 aces and 60 ADR.
And all of that will forever be remembered as the most glorious day of Brazilian Counter-Strike ever. Don't you think?
That was an exciting day. I won't lie.
It was exciting. Was it better than, the whole Brazilian roster major runs? Absolutely not. But it was a glorious day, and they hadn't had one of those for a little while. So I think unlock potential, man. You really think Henny is the best player out of Brazil? Now that you're making me think about it, it's a bit harder to refute it.
The only 2 are Case Serrato and Yuri are the only 2 players that I even put near him. But
that's fair.
I think you could argue both are better, but I just hot take.
What about VSM?
Nah, man. Come on. All Henny, Case Serrato, and Yuri were all top 20 last year, and I don't know. I mean, I think VSM is awesome, but I mean, it's not like he's ever played consistently versus good teams, so
sure.
We don't know yet.
If I can't counter your argument, I suppose my is unjustified.
Ooh,
that's how this works, right?
Reverse What's a reverse sound like? All right, let's move forward.
I think that the top 5 for players in 2021 will be shooken up. I think that there's a chance as I was not in the top 3.
Oh man, I feel pressure to act fast on this one. That's a really good one. I'm not gonna ant you on this.
All right.
Yeah.
Not so clear anymore, huh? Yeah.
And I think it'll be the top 3 players of 2021 will be Simple Device, and then Nico.
I will politely half refute this just for the sake of conversation.
Yep.
Because Nico would be more so expected than what I'll put at 3.
Rops.
Yes. Yeah. That's where I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna go Rops, and then I would refute with Nico. But let's say it, man. Let's say Mouse Sports flies the charts. Rops comes online or comes off of the online with absolute rage and aggression. And just destroys the world, man. Yep.
I definitely don't think Rops going to choke. I still definitely going to put, Rops in my top 5, but
sure.
I think Nico will take it. But listen, I think Nico is going to hunt down just enough ecos to put him clearly ahead of Rops stats wise.
Sure.
If, let's say, Astralis made a roster change, there are a lot of players in Denmark that would like to join Astralis. And one of the players we talked to in Denmark, who plays for a team that some would say is much better than Astralis right now, was Refrezh about this exact topic. So why don't we get Refrezh's thoughts on what it would mean as a Danish player coming up to join a team like Astralis?
I mean, of course, everyone would love to play for Astralis, but I actually never set my mind to I never set my mind to setting that as a goal. I always wanted to be on a team that could challenge them and beat them. I find that way more decisive than just joining a team that had made it to the top. I would want to establish something myself with a team and show that we can beat them. I feel like that's way more rewarding in my eyes.
So those are some interesting thoughts about.
Stop right there.
What,
ladies and gentlemen? Breaking news. I repeat, from the front lines, breaking news. Prior to this podcast being recorded, we had the Colzera news, but during this podcast recording, we have had a second set of roster mania. It is the ZTR has returned to the Ninjas in Pajamas Academy team, replaced by another 3-letter name. LNZ is coming in, and ZTR is going out. Where do they farm these young Swedes, Launders?
What the hell? Is that just ZTR with a mustache or something? What is
You'd
going?
think so.
Who's this LNZ fella?
I don't know.
Oh my god!
Another young ninja. So somebody that we saw playing at the Blast Rising has now come on to the fresh roster.
The IGL of young ninjas. Wait, dude, this is insane because at ZTR at Flashpoint, he was a focus because the team was winning a lot of their hard matches and ZTR wasn't doing that well. But there were redeemable qualities. Number 1, he was calling on a couple maps. And then number 2, he was also really smart in the clutch. Had some really good moments where he was making all the right decisions, won a lot of 1v2s and stuff. But overall, I mean, we could dress it up however you want, but overall, he's definitely he wasn't the best performer on the team.
Yep.
What's interesting is ZTR was a bold prediction from Device.
Yeah.
For the future, right? This one might sting. I don't know how long ZTR knew about this or what the deal is here, but we've got a statement from Thresh. Should I just read it?
Go ahead.
Head coach Bjorn Threat Pers. Eric has contributed enormously to our recent success with great communication and energy. Wow. What a way to say someone has bad aim. Helping us to recover in dire moments. However, I believe he needs some more time to develop as a player, which is why we decided to let him play with the young ninjas. This opens up an opportunity for LNZ, a gifted player who has been on the rise on young ninjas, to try his fortune on the main roster. So this either means that Device has bad taste in up-and-coming players, or this could actually help. But, if I put myself in ZTR's shoes, going back to young ninjas is the worst case situation. If you never have moved up, then, LNZ might be a flop, but this is his time to shine. And he can, take the opportunity by the horns. Don't know what the situation was for ZTR, if he was happy, if he was comfortable, if he felt like he did show his best, if he felt like he is just not good enough at this level or something like that. But what we do know is that now they already have this in their mind that they've tried him once. Yep. Are they ever going to try him again?
Scary situation to be
in. Scary, right?
I do think it's cool that he'll get to go back. Like now he's gonna be the Device of the young ninjas in a way because he got that call up.
More experience. Yeah.
Or maybe he won't be because maybe the other players will see him as like a failed chance at that big shot, right? This is a very this ominous last line of Threat's quote though. I don't know. I'm a little concerned for this one. LNZ, blah, 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 Young Ninjas, to try his fortune on the main roster.
Put the trench coat away.
Right?
What?
To try his fortune. Like this is, Madame Hussein sitting in the side.
Take the monkey paw, LNZ.
What do you mean try his fortune? Like, how much luck is involved here with clicking into this team? Like, what is it that you're... I don't know. This doesn't inspire me, as if... They haven't convinced me that LNZ has the pieces that ZTR was missing.
We cut ZTR because he wasn't lucky enough.
Right? Yeah. It didn't work, and we're not quite sure what the solution is, so we spun the wheel and it landed on LNZ. It's his time to try his fortune. I don't know. Wasn't Ninjas the team that also said, like, Device might have been a big move, but this next move's even bigger? And they tried to, like, hype up that there was more changes coming, and now you tell me we lose 3-letter acronym for 3-letter acronym? Young Ninja for Young Ninja?
Was that news anything to do with this? Because I would hope that ZTR didn't know he was going to get cut. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. See, I thought he was. I thought he was a placeholder. When Device got included, I remember thinking to myself, okay, this organization is making huge moves. This org is going just, to poach Device is just...
They said this was a bigger move than Device, though, which is, first of all, that's pretty much impossible unless Simple joins this team. And then, secondly, like, not even that big. It's kind of like they're the ones trying their fortune, exactly. With a random player that's never played a tier 1. Yeah, it's really not LNZ is trying his fortune. He's just
it's nipped themselves, hoping that's
it's nipped themselves.
One of these young Swedes will stick. But
there it is. Threat was just projecting.
Fingers crossed for him. Good luck, LNZ. This is exciting news mid episode here, man.
You've got the blast push to talk nod. Okay, we're cheering for you.
Yep. The bomb has been planted.
That was fantastic. Scrawny made the noise. He got it. So we're into it. The bomb has been planted. 40 seconds to mirror the bomb timer to talk about a couple of hot topics. The M4A4 versus the M4A1. Which gun do you want?
I want A1S.
I will take the A4 because the A4 is a superior gun. It has more bullets to use. The spray pattern is tighter. Colzera would actually drop an AK for an M4A4. Nobody's dropping AKs for M4A1Ss. A1Ss suck on Ancient, especially with print streams, because the barrel sticks out so far you can see it from the corner. Plus, the A4 has good enough skins. Okay, I don't want to talk about A1S skins. They are very nice, but apart from that, there's not much to be said. The A4 has been around longer. It's undefeated. It costs more money, therefore it's better.
Your bomb has exploded. Now mine's been planted. Okay, the M4A1S is not better than the A4 on all maps. I'm not delusional, but it is unarguably superior to the A4 on certain maps, and that's why you need to be versed in both of them. Somebody who can only play the A4 is a troglodyte. Somebody who can play the A4 and the A1S, God mode. Okay, so make sure you put this in your repertoire. The gun itself is incredibly accurate over distance. You do not miss shots with the A1S. If somebody sticks their little head out for some kind of a shoulder peek, you're gonna fucking dome them, man. You're gonna hit these shots every single time. Overpass, A1S. Vertigo, A1S. Mirage, okay, you can keep your damn A4. Dust 2, also A1S. I'll see you on Ancient.
It's best of the rest. There's a few things to talk about here. It's quite funny because we had a segment called Hot Topics, but these ones are even more spicy. And we'll try not to, they've been talked to death, but we got to go over them because they've happened. This whole NIP versus Anonymo situation that happened at Flashpoint. I want to get your thoughts on it. So, because I did a whole video on this, so I'll give you my high overview, or just here's what happened for people who don't understand. Basically, NIP played a game versus Anonymo at the EU RMR, which was at Flashpoint. I was there casting. And in the game, NIP were experiencing spikes of up to 40% loss. And everyone thought they were lying about that. But apparently what happened was Faceit system bugged out and their anti-DDoS protection activated. And it was basically causing NIP to have loss. And they couldn't figure out how it was happening. Anonymo and NIP played out the entire best of 3. Anonymo ended up winning. And then NIP asked for an unprecedented rematch. And they ended up replaying the match. NIP won this time in the rematch, and went on to get second place. And Anonymo bombed out basically. I think lost a double pony, and then maybe another game after that. But The trouble was this whole dilemma of playing a match that has been done already. So where I stand on it was, in my opinion, the match should not have been replayed. I disagree with Flashpoint's ruling. NIP should not be allowed to get a rematch once they agree to play the match, even if they feel pressured, even if they're quote-unquote forced. They could just have not played the match and fought from there, gone to the CSPPA, done something like that. But once they play Anonymo in that match, I think that's where that's it. You played them. You agreed to play them.
Yeah. That's kind of where I am too, man. Like taking it away from Anonymo feels like to me the worst possible outcome. You know, at the end of the day, it's a Face It and Flashpoint failure. In the sense that, you know, the server was bugged out, they couldn't fix it at the time. The decision process afterwards, I think, was sketchy, and I think that's why it was it felt like at the time such a big deal. And it was unprecedented. So I mean, it is a big deal. It is still, you know, it's an asterisk now. It's a dark spot on the EU RMR. Sadly, the fact that it was another close game and that NIP take it away from them. You know, I just feel for Anonymo to have achieved something, to have experienced the jubilation of victory, and then to have all of that ripped out from underneath you with you having done nothing wrong. This wasn't some sketchy situation where Anonymo deserved this in any way. And that to me just seems like the, you know, the cardinal sin, man. Once a game is done and once a game is over, then that is the result. And to go back is a scary precedent. I really hope we don't ever see anything like this again.
That's so funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Scrawny.
Yeah. Because it is funny, seeing as I wish there was an event that was entirely replayed, Launders, if that's what you're alluding to.
I mean, yeah, that's just happened. That's a good segue. Go for it.
It's the CIS RMR, which somehow, despite being I'm going to fire it up. Despite being a failure of an event, has received what feels like 1/10 of the attention. And I don't know if that's just because there's this general culture, sadly, that is around the CIS event of like, well, it's the CIS event. That's what's going to happen. It's crazy that there were calls to action to strip Flashpoint and to strip Face It of the responsibility or privilege of hosting RMR-related events, while all of a sudden, you know, it almost feels like after the fact, this Epic League CIS event, which now we know had no anti-cheat enabled, has no TS recordings, has no player POV recordings, has rumored a 0-second GOTV relay out there for anybody who had their hands on it to access. And that includes betting sponsors, includes potential competitors in the event. We don't know. It's an ongoing investigation. Hopefully there's an investigation, because the alternative is that this just gets swept under the rug. It's just nuts that it almost feels like nobody's talking about it. Valve included. Not a single word about it yet. Again, as of recording, June 1st, 2021. We don't know what's going to go on with this. My opinion, the entire event is moot. The entire event needs to either be A, replayed, which is funny considering this EU one, but even better, completely rejected. Reject the results, take all of those RMR points back from the teams and redistribute them over the next CIS RMR event. We know that StarLadder has one coming up very soon. There is no time technically to replay an entire RMR event that requires 5th, 6th decider places and whatnot. There's too many games, but we cannot allow what has happened with this CIS RMR to be legitimized in history, man. This event was CIS RMR. That's what everybody should be fired up about.
And like Valve aren't an esports company. They don't they just give money for majors and shit, and they like say what can be run, but they give the keys over to the RMR like TOs to make the decisions, all the ethical choices, everything. So they either have to do a better job with picking the TOs, or they actually have to have some situation where they can step in and make decisions, but they aren't doing that. So yeah, with that in mind, I don't think they're going to come back and say we're going to have a heavier hand in the event and it gets replayed, and these situations are going to be, there's not going to be any judgments like that. They just have never done anything like that. It's not going to happen. But they do have the ability to be like, all right, that event never happened. Let's go to the next one. So maybe we'll get something like that. But yeah, if there isn't, it's just an abject failure.
Refresh is a reoccurring theme across today's episode. And we got a little snippet. We got a tidbit. We got a teaser of the upcoming EPOS Epic Stories. featured here at the Blast Spring Finals. Here's his recounting of the Cadian 1v4.
We had an eco round. We were just trying to plant the bomb and go for a save. Cadian ended up being in a 1v4. He has the first guy in the back, and then he chose to try to knife him for economical reasons. He ended up getting an AWP, getting another free kill. And then it was a 1v2. He shot randomly through the box. And I heard him tag him, so I told him, you hit him. The models or the players are making sounds when they get shot at. He went for the second shot and killed the third guy. Now he was in a 1v1 against Exile. Cadian was asking us, where do you think the last guy is? And I said, maybe you saw him at the loop corner. He went to molly that. He kept asking because it was actually not a fast clutch. Of course, it was a sick clutch, but it was like pretty slow in the 1v1. We agreed on that, okay, this guy was holding mid, and we found out that he has to be pushed somewhere. That's why he went on to jump and spot him at Tetris. And then I think it was like Tessas and Staven said, you saw him, but Cadian didn't see him himself. And then Cadian was scoped in and just waiting for him to peek. And Cadian hit the last shot, and we won the last round of ESL Pro League. Two things that changed the round with comms was like the shot through the box and the jump peak.
Wow, that was a movie.
Yeah, man, the power of audio.
I enjoyed that. And yeah, the audio actually did play a huge factor. Like he was saying, Refrezh was the guy to tip off Cadian with the shot through triple. And that was obviously one of the most insane clutches in the game's history.
Yeah.
And it was super fun to watch. we were watching it at we were at in a hotel, and I was doing like a kind of a pseudo co-stream, and then we had Joey, who some of you may know, sleeping on the couch behind us, and woke up like just in time for the clutch. So that was crazy. That was a clutch heard around the world, and yeah, that was Refrezh's recounting of it. That was great.
One of those moments where I think in a LAN environment, we don't get a clutch like that. To me, that play will always be that as we start to defer away from the online era, that play will be remembered as the online play of this, 2-year period, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's from the fact that Refrezh hears that little bit of a shot hitting him through boxes, Cadian being able to even creep up behind the staircase without a crowd kind of giving away a warning to Gambit in any way. And even if you go back and watch that with the cast on it as well, Machini's touched on this, like that's the way he commentated it was only possible without a crowd. It's just such a nice, silent, sneaky moment that honestly we're always going to remember. Thanks again to the power of audio. This podcast is sponsored by EPOS, the power of audio. Time to take your streaming to the next level. The new EPOS B20 streaming microphone offers you exceptional plug-and-play audio and filters out any background noises to make you sound like a pro. Learn more about the new B20 streaming microphone from EPOS at eposaudio.com/gaming.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show because it's something we only get to do once a month. It's kind of the cicada of our life. Okay, being a bit dramatic, we get to see podcasts more than the cicadas come out, but it's still very exciting and very fun. And on this episode, you never know what's going to happen. We got news live during the show. Colzera, ZTR, it's going crazy these days. But when isn't it in CS? That's why you've got to subscribe to the Blast YouTube channel to stay in touch with Blast Push to Talk. It's always going to be me and Scrawny. It's always going to be interviews you haven't heard before. So make sure you stay tuned. If you loved it, leave a like. If you hated it, turn notifications on so next time, we'll do the next one, and then you can make sure you hate it on the next one. You can watch the next one. But always leave, even if you don't like it, leave a like. Just interact, okay? It's for the algorithm. All right? Thank you so much for watching. If you have feedback, let us know. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully it's just positive. But if you do, just leave a comment. Bye, everybody.
Bye.